Welcome back, everybody. I want to do a quickish tutorial on how to use best practices for right now to convert our curly paper photograph into an appropriate black and white image in order to use for our drawing. We want to make sure that the curly paper and the shadow are taking up most of the image area. We want to make sure that we have bright white highlights, dark shadows, and a range of values in between, meaning we don't want too much contrast or even too little contrast. Instead of using the camera roll, I want you to use the Snapseed app. So if I swipe down on the screen and I start typing in Snapseed, I'll see it there, has a green leaf icon that will open up. From here, I just have a dummy image. I'm going to tap open in the upper left, and I'm going to open from device, and I'm going to choose the curly paper image that I know will work for this drawing because of the layout of the paper and the shadow and how it will work from there. So going to Tools in the bottom of the screen, I'm going to click on Tune Image, which is in the upper left. From here, if I touch the screen and I move my thumb up and down, or my finger, then I have this menu that pops up. The first thing I want to go to is Saturation. Next, if you watch the top of the screen, if I slide my finger to the right, it's going to enhance saturation. If I slide it to the left, it will take away all of the color. And the first thing you need to do is subtract all 100% of your saturation. From here, if I use any of these other tools in this part of the app, it's going to affect the entire image. So I can come, let's go crazy for just a second and give it too much contrast. So I move my finger up and down to select contrast. I'm going to move my finger all the way to the right. This is not a good image. It will be very challenging to create with a pencil drawing. At the same time, if we want bright white and dark quote-unquote black, we don't have anything in this when we took all of the contrast away. So you may find more or less contrast works better for you. It just kind of depends on how your photograph started. You don't want too much, so be careful about adding too much. I'm actually going to take a little bit away so that I can show you that if I want to go to my highlights, I can increase my highlights a little bit. I can decrease my shadows a little bit. And that's the same as controlling my contrast. So I'm going to put my contrast back in the middle. And now I can kind of see the before and after. I have really bright parts of the paper, but not overwhelmingly white. And I've got very dark shadows, but not, so it's going to overpower the image. In the bottom right-hand corner, I have a check mark I want to click. And then last thing, going to Tools, finding the Crop button, I happen to know that 4:3 are the proportions that we want for this particular image. And if I click on 4:3, I can pull from the corners and I can move my composition around if I need the paper and the shadow to take up a little bit more space. So if I check on here, I can also kind of flip back and forth and see what this looks like. So just touching the screen and lifting my finger off, I think I kind of like this more because it takes up a little bit more of the space but doesn't go all the way to the edges. So at this point, I'm going to call this done. If you have any questions, let me know, but we're ready to export. So bottom right, click export, always save a copy. And then when I save a copy, it goes right into the camera roll. I can go back to the photos and I can go from before to after, before to after. Ideally, it's a really subtle difference, but this is what we need in order to begin our drawing, or at least something very similar. So work on yours, get it to where it looks great, and have fun.